Now we are focusing on jobs. Like we did say, jobs, employment and recruitment are our subject on Business Review for tonight. And I do have the Chief Executive Officer at KSM Consulting, and that is Dr. Kelvin Sokuni. Doc, welcome to Business Review.
Pleasure is mine.
It's good to have you on the program.
I'm very pleased to be here.
How is KSM doing?
KSM is doing very well.
So,
beginning of the year.
Thank you. That is good. First of all, we're talking about recruitment. Number one, we've got quite a number of recruitment agencies. Yours is one of them. Why do you think these recruitment agencies are very important? What role do they play? And why I'm asking that is, we've got companies, huge organizations,
That's right.
huge, with qualified directors of human resource and HR managers, but they still go and say, we need a recruitment agency to help us find an accounts executive. Why do they need agencies like yours?
First of all, agencies in Zambia are regulated and signed on by the Ministry of Labor. For you to register yourself there, you'll have been vetted already that you are qualified. You are registered with the Zambia Institute of Human Resource Management. So for you to actually do any recruitment, you are fully qualified as an agency. But coming to the question as to why organizations would rather prefer to actually use a recruitment agency compared to their own inbuilt HR personnel, number one reason is that you know that recruitment is always a political matter. Even a cleaner, when you're recruiting a CEO, would love to know who is this person coming in. And there are a lot of innuendos, suspicions, and everything else. So sometimes to remove that suspicion, organizations would rather, push it over to a recruitment firm who have got nothing to do, no emotional attachment to the recruitment, would actually use their specialization actually to choose the rightful people without any nepotism or anything else. For it is also said around the corners that for you to get a job, you get to know someone. And so to avoid that issue of get to know someone, use a recruitment firm who most of the time they are very, very professional in the approach in terms of recruiting people. Recruitment is an art. You have to have the skill to identify a candidate, to know who you are actually talking to decipher the personality and match that personality to the job. It is not something that you can actually bring in anyone else to recruit. And many organizations make a mistake. They bring in everyone, so long he's called a manager, so long he's called a director, and they say you recruit. You've heard of a saying, garbage in, garbage out. There's a saying in recruitment, which is really run by top grading. It says that top performers recruit top talent. Underperformers recruit under talent. Meaning, amongst the directors, there are some that are really top performers, but there are some who are not performing very well. So, like pose, attract. So if you bring in someone who is not a performer in your organization and to recruit for you, he's always going to bring people at his level or below his level.
You've spoken about the employer. Let's talk about the prospective employee. Many people, like I did say in the preamble, many people are qualified to get a degree with a master's, but when they walk in for the interview, that's where everything seems to go wrong. They miss out on opportunities because they fail to perform in the interview. What works for prospective employees who are looking for employment? What sets me apart from the thousands that are yet to be interviewed?
So many a times candidates that come into the interview room, they think that the panelists are not clever enough to actually decipher a lot of things. All right, we know that you have already prepared for the interview. We know you cooked. Sometimes some people cook their CV. We know a lot of things. So when you come for the interview, we first check your personality. This is why we sit very far away from the door. We want to see you from the legs to the head, because what are we gauging? We are observing you. So the interview is about observation. The panelists are being trained to observe the person, his aura, his grooming, personal grooming. We look at him, how is he? Can this employee represent us well, the way he looks? The CV has already told you, we've shortlisted you, meaning you are just a step away from the job. But you have to convince us that you are the person that you said you are on the CV. So the job now, our job as a panelist is to go down deeper, to match you against what you said in the CV and match you against the job. So we start with the personality checks. We check you on personality. When we ask you the question, tell us about yourself. That's a very dangerous question, by the way. It's not just an easy thing. No, me, I went to school, I started. Don't even start there. We already know which primary school you went. Just start from when I finished my grade 12, I did this. That's where you have to go. It's a dangerous question because we are asking you to market yourself. Many people don't know how to market themselves. They instead narrate to us what stages of life they've gone through. When it comes to telling us about the jobs that they were doing, I worked for ZNBC, for instance. They just go to the job description and start mentioning the job descriptions that they were doing. Forget it. We are clever enough to decipher that. We want to know from you, what achievement did you do when you occupied this job? A good candidate will come in and say, when I was at ZNBC, I was recruited as this particular person, and I came in as a presenter, but before long, management saw talent in me and promoted me to be a cameraman or whatever, a producer. And because of I achieved these milestones in a short period of time, they promoted me to that. Those are the achievements that we want to know, not a narration of things that we've already read and things that we already know. So you miss it in an interview because you ace it wrongly. You have to market yourself. Bring the very best of yourself. Things that you have achieved. Show us that you know how to do a job. But some have come to professional people like HR people to say, Bwana, help me, I'm going for an interview. Prepare me for an interview. We already know that you've been prepared. So we need to get above you, above your preparation. So the people that are prepared, they will lose the queue after a few questions, follow-up questions.
How would you answer a question like someone who's employed already and looking for a job somewhere else, and you're asked, why are you leaving your previous employer or your current employer? Why do you want to come here? Why are you leaving them?
The answer there would be, I think I've done what I need to do. The challenges that the job brought in, I've reached that level, but now I'm looking for more challenges. I think I've outgrown the job.
Interesting. What about a question like, maybe you were fired at your previous job?
Yes.
And they tell you, why did you leave your previous job? And you were fired.
Yes. I left the job because I made a mistake. Honesty is very important. In fact, if you are fired and you mentioned to the panel will remain behind to say, have you seen how truthful that guy was? He said, yes, I made a mistake. This happened, but I learned from it. And unfortunately, they had to let me go. You're honest. When they go and do reference checks, there are people on the panel who say, let's give him a second chance. He's an honest man. He's learned from his deeds. He's paid already his sins. So let's give him another chance.
That's interesting. So I've got interest in the report that you did.
Yes.
I would like us to get into the details. So the presentation is there. If our guys could just beam it on the screen, and then he's going to show us the details of that report. It's the 2018-2019 KSM Recruitment Job Survey Report for 2018 and 2019. So let's just start from there.
All right. In our 2018-2019 Recruitment Job Survey, we surveyed 3,880 jobs that were advertised in newspapers, job sites, aggregated in different other areas. And out of those, we are going to see what kind of results that came out. We looked at the level of education. Out of the level of education, you are going to see that 37% of those jobs advertised, the employers were asking for degrees. And only 28% were asking for diplomas. The rest they are not asking for. So meaning for you to get a job in Zambia right now, you have a high chance if you have a degree or a diploma. Next slide. We also looked at the minimum work experience. What kind of work experience were the employers looking for? You are going to notice that out of 3,880, the employers were demanding for 5 years minimum work experience. And the next area was that they were demanding for 3 years work experience. So for you to really find a job in Zambia right now, you must at least have at least 3 years to 5 years work experience. You are going to ask a question to say, what if I'm just coming straight from school? Exactly. What am I going to do? We're encouraging you to please ask for any attachment or any internship, because that would actually give you some impotence over others. It will give you some space to know that actually you've worked somewhere. So in Zambia, from these results, it's showing that you must have some level of experience one way or the other. The next slide, it looks like location of jobs advertised. So we looked at the whole Zambia and asked ourselves, where are the most jobs sitting in Zambia? Here's a report. It tells us that 67% of the jobs that were advertised 2018-2019 were found in Lusaka, seconded by the Copper Belt, 13%, and Northwestern Province, 8%. This is telling. So it means, therefore, that urbanization has happened here. People are moving from all over Zambia coming to Lusaka, and most jobs are found in Lusaka.
So most of these are government jobs or private sector jobs? These
are mostly private jobs. We did not go to government jobs, so you're going to see that we did not go into the medical jobs and everything else, but these are on the private sector, those that are being advertised.
So Northern Province had 0%?
Northern Province, 0%. There's literally marginal, very marginal. But most jobs were sitting in Lusaka, Copper Belt, Northwestern, and Northern was through. Southern Province a bit, 4%, and Western Province, 1%.
Okay, interesting.
Next slide. You're going to see academic qualification. Academic qualification, you're going to see that the most wanted jobs, 2018-2019, were accounting jobs. Those that have studied accounting or related subjects were the ones, the jobs where many employers were recruiting in that particular area. The next level was those in engineering. I think this is why we were into a construction environment. So construction jobs where people were looking forward for them a lot. And then the social sciences, the human resource administration jobs, and so on and so forth. There you go. They were the third in line in terms of what the employers were looking for. And the other areas, you can see that they are going down there. So what does it tell us now? Does it tell us that for you to get a job, you need to go and study accounting and engineering? No, please. You have to know something about cyclic in recruitment. Now, for 2-3 years, what will be required is maybe accounting. You'll be shocked that in the next cyclic, you'll be requiring people in administration. So don't be careful how you choose these accounting. Just because today accounting is on demand doesn't mean that tomorrow accounting will be on demand.
Interesting. But like you said, these are conversations that many households are having, parents are having with their children. I had a conversation with a young lady yesterday who was telling me, look, my parents want me to go into accounting. They're the ones that are paying for me. And most young people are finding themselves in that predicament, where the parents believe that there's money in accounting. Go do accounting.
Right.
What is a ripple effect?
Yes, there's a serious ripple effect. And we see it from people that are already having degrees and everything else. Parents, I'm a parent too. My daughter has just finished her grade 12 from Ndola Technical School. Parents, do not enforce your perceived training or your desired training into your children. Let them study what they want to study. We have seen people who have been forced to study this particular profession, and they have got no desire in it. They've done it because they wanted to please their guardian, their parents, and everyone else, but it does not work for them. They do not have the desire. They come for an interview. You can see that they're not in it. They just studied it as an academic achievement, and not, a program that you study, you must have passion for it. And you must go for work, not for the money. You must go for work because you are passionate about it. In fact, money should be an afterthought. People that work so well in companies are those that are doing their job with passion.
Thank you. As we come to an end, there's a disproportionate in terms of the graduates that are being churned out of our universities and colleges, the University of Zambia, CBU, University of Lusaka, NIPA, Evelyn, all these. Every year at graduation ceremonies, we see the flowers and the gowns. But looking at the job market, our job market is not able to absorb all of these graduates.
Yes.
You are a recruiter.
That's right.
What would your advice be to these organizations who are hiring? Because now it means there's a huge pool of talent out there.
That's right.
How does a company, from all these graduates, sieve out the best that work for them? Because look, if we employ you today and tomorrow we realize it was a mistake employing you, you can't fire you after 3 days. You're already there. You've got a contract for 3 years.
Indeed.
What then do we do? And what can a company do to make sure that at the end of the day we get the best talent out of all these hundreds of thousands?
All right, so 2 things there. We did an analysis actually. in Zambia, we noticed that Zambia churns out in a year from 2015. We've been churning out 9,000 graduates each year or more, 9,000 plus graduates. And we found out that a graduate who graduated 5 years ago would possibly only find a job after 5 years, 4 to 5 years. Meaning you've got 3 years of sitting at home. This is serious. And the issue is also we looked at demographies. The people that are working right now, how many of them are leaving employment or are dying or exiting employment? At what rate, what is the rate of turnover rate in organization compared to number of jobs being created? So meaning, how many people are we bringing in? Compounded by another problem of companies have stopped now bringing in trainees. For you to be a trainee in a company, they'll tell you we don't have space. So it becomes totally difficult. For a person who graduated 4 years ago would only find a job after 3 years. That's very big. So meaning an appeal to people to actually open up companies. Everyone must think about opening up a company, employ some people. But you ask the question, what should companies do to get the very best from amongst the biggest pool? Again, so here's one. There's too much supply of labor and there's very few jobs, meaning the too much supply will suppress the cost, the price of the job. So meaning the salary will be actually being lowered now. Now for you to have a diploma, how much should you be getting? Because there are so many degree holders who want to do a diploma job. Okay, that's number one. So employers must use different recruitment systems. Number one, use aptitude tests to sieve away you want to get the brightest. We do aptitude test our company and psychometrics. Even for managers and directors, we've got specific psychometric tests that we do to actually sieve out those that are coming to pretend to be the people that are not, and pick out the very best. So companies must use different batteries, we call them batteries, to actually identify a candidate. Number one, use aptitude tests. Number two, use psychometrics. Number three, use the interviews. Number four, use written interviews. It's amazing. In Zambia right now, it's so confusing. You tell me you're a graduate, you've got a degree with merit, bachelor's degree with merit. We ask you to write a report. What we find there, my brother, is sorry-side. I don't know what comes out, but the people that we are coming into the organization, you find that this one cannot even write a business letter, cannot even write a business report. There's a big problem. So as a recruitment firm, we actually pass everyone through a written test as well. So we give them a case study, write a report, write a letter. We want to see the English. We want to see your handwriting. We want to see the way you actually put your words together, because you are going to be writing for us. I don't want to have a subordinate who is going to be always coming, sir, how am I going to help you? Help me in how to write this letter. Help me how to write this letter. I want, when I recruit you, I will handhold you, onboard you for 1 month or two. Then you should fly alone. So what we are having right now is managers and recruiters out there must be careful to use the 300 degrees assessment. And we always say performance management does not begin when you've recruited a person. It begins at recruitment. How do you bring these people into the organization?
Thank you, Doc. Very big conversation. Time's not with us. We'll be back just after this. This was our interview with KSM CEO Dr. Kelvin Sokuni. Stay with us.